Heading into a big series against Ole Miss, what's the mood around your team?
What's the mood? Well, mood's good. Yeah, we'll have a good practice today, and win last night obviously helps, and we're looking forward to it.
Ethan's having a big season for you guys. Is this where you kind of expected him to be after surgery, or is this surpassing
Well,
your
I think it's where you
expectations?
hope that they get. I think sometimes the expectations, because the rehab process has been sped up so much on the elbow UCL replacement, sometimes I think the expectations are a little unrealistic. You know, they're throwing less than 12 months, and I think sometimes we put him in a corner a little bit. But he's doing well, and certainly happy with his progress, and hope he continues to get better, because he's getting better just about every time out.
What do you see from him that is getting better with each start?
Well, we're going to talk about the absolute basics again. Fastball on both sides, getting ahead in the count. When he misses, it's our pitch much more often than it was a month ago. Command of the changeup, especially early in the count, is dramatically better. He's changed the shape of his breaking ball because he's not getting into it so early with his torso. He's throwing it with his hand. He's throwing it later. It's tighter. It's a better pitch. So we've got more fastballs down early in the count, and we've got secondary pitches that we can rely on either early or late. So those are the things that he's doing. And it sounds easy when you talk about him, but as you watch baseball across the country, it's hard to do sometimes. But he's doing a good job for us.
Ole Miss is having a bounce back type of year this year. What do you see differently about them this season?
Well, their kids are older. They played a bunch of freshmen last year, and the kids, I think they're really talented, but they had some of the results that you have when you play freshmen a lot, and they're certainly getting good starting pitching. They've got a good bullpen, and they're hitting much better than they did last year, and they've got some power numbers.
That's it. Do you kind of see some similarities as to where this club is this year, playing a lot of freshmen and things, and where they were a year ago?
Well, I think at this point, yeah, and you certainly hope that we continue to get better and we play better as the season progresses. But I think there's, the obvious similarity of they played a bunch of freshmen last year. We're doing that this year, and sometimes the early part of that can be tough.
A couple of guys, younger guys too, who have struggled since they faced SEC pitching. It looks like with their average dipping. How do you coach them to sort of have them maintain sort of a level of confidence while that's going on?
Well, that's a hard thing to do at any level of baseball, and at every level of baseball. I think what you do is you keep playing them as much as you can, as much as they can, and then when it's time for them to get a break, they get a break. And I think you try to focus on the absolute basics once again. I know it's a cliche, but I think it's really important, because the more you fail in this game, the more advice you're going to get from varied sources. Which is never the avenue for success or turning things around. And so you've got to make sure that you provide them the information that they need in a succinct fashion that gives them the best possible chance to be successful. We're talking about approach. We're talking about all the swing work that they need. We're talking about having an idea of what the opposing pitcher is going to try and do, what his strengths are, and where they go in certain counts, and make sure that they have that understanding, and hopefully that they've got enough poise and can relax to a point in the competitive moment to actually execute, that thought process, that plan, that approach.
You said last night you Riley Self kind of looked like the Riley Self of last year. What would getting a healthy Riley Self do for the bullpen moving forward?
It would help immediately. Yeah, I was really pleased with Riley last night. I think he had to feel really good about that. The first. Now, he's had some other good outings for us, successful outings, but I think that was the first time last night where we saw the arm strength back, commanded the two pitches, life on the fastball down. Obviously, the one punch up was up, but he threw it by him, so that was a positive thing, I thought. But the ball was down for the most part. He got ahead in the count, and we threw a secondary pitch for a strike. I think those are all really positive things for Riley last night.
Going back to Ethan Small, his numbers are pretty off the charts, especially his K rate this year. Is that sustainable for him? Is he that good, or what is it about his sort of pedigree that has allowed him to accumulate those numbers?
Well, my honest evaluation is when you're punching guys out, you're doing some really basic things at a high level, okay? And those things are you're getting to 2 strikes, which means that more often than not, you're getting to 0-1. Not every time, but more often than not, you're getting ahead in the count. Strikeouts come from putting yourself in a position where you can actually strike somebody out. So you've got to keep your poise. You can't strike them out until you get to 2 strikes. That sounds trite, but it's really true. You'll see guys out there trying to do too much on a 2-0 or a 1-1 pitch. But yeah, he can sustain that, and I don't know if he will, and I don't want to make bold predictions here on what guys are going to do moving forward. But if he continues to get ahead, stay out of the middle of the strike zone and fastball counts, command the changeup and most of the time early, but certainly at times late in the count, and then have a two-strike curveball, then yeah, you can put guys away. And about the time that you get really good with that, that fastball in opens up. You know, and so the more that one pitch gets better, or the more that one pitch improves, the better the other pitches get immediately. You know, and that's why the guy with 3 pitches, all of a sudden all the pitches play above, because you've eliminated the mystery. And that's what he's been able to do, and hopefully he can continue doing that moving forward.
Hey, Ethan, I had to ask Gary about this too, but it's unusual to see somebody have so much success so short after a surgery like yours. Has this surpassed your own expectations, or is this pretty in line with what you thought you were capable of doing?
I wouldn't say I had any expectations coming in. I've always believed I knew that I could be this good. I believe I could command everything the way I have been. I think it just comes down to believing in yourself and knowing that you can do it because you can.
It seems like your velocity is a little down from what it was previously, but it seems like your command is up. Is that just kind of the trade-off?
Well, I think it comes from throwing an inning a week versus 6, 7, or 8 and 100 pitches every 6 or 7 days. But I would definitely make I would make that trade 10 times out of 10 though.
Was there ever a point during your rehab and things? I know you mentioned a few weeks ago after a game that you were watching this on TV a year ago, and now here you are. Was there ever a point where you had those doubts, like, am I going to be able to come back, or were you pretty confident the whole time? Just had to be patient.
It's funny. I think everybody who's had that surgery can definitely say there's times they think they would never throw a baseball again, just because of how painful it is at points. But I mean, like I said before, I've said this before. I've had dreams of pitching again. And really, you just know that you're going to come back, and I think that helps you just being confident that you know you're going to be able to come back and be as good as you were.
What helped you think that way?
It's just being driven to be good, being driven to be great, I guess would be the better answer. Just wanting to play on this team, wanting to be a factor,
What worked so well for you last week in Baton Rouge?
All 3 pitches, could throw them where I wanted them. I could make them chase up, make them chase down, go in on them, throw it away. It just, everything was working for me, and I think that just really messes with the hitter's timing when you're able to change speeds and keep them off balance that way. You
never want to see that injury with anybody, but did it kind of help to have some other guys that were kind of going through it around the same time as you were?
Yeah, I do, especially when you have those 8 a.m. lifting groups, the red shirts. It helps to not be the only guy going through it. But definitely, and you talk with those guys, and you're all going through similar things, and it's not fun for any of us, but it definitely does help having somebody go through it with you.